Hello, Chapter 11, Lesson number 1. The previous chapter, Chapter 10, was really all about nutrition. Chapter 11 is now taking the information that we learned in Chapter 10 and starting to apply it. How can I manage my weight? How can I maintain my weight um, to make sure that when it's all said and done, I'm happy with my shape, I'm happy with my appearance, and I keep myself as healthy as I can be. This first slide, really, class, it's really important that we understand that when it comes to calories and it comes to weight management, etc., it's all a balancing game. How many calories do I take in and how many calories do I burn? If I eat more calories than I burn, I'm going to gain weight. If I eat less calories than I burn, I'm going to lose weight. And if I burn 2,000 and I consume 2,000, I'm going to maintain. So it's really all about that balancing and how much I'm consuming and how much I'm burning. So there is a strong relationship between what I eat, okay, and obviously what I burn, but that also means there is a relationship between the nutrition side but also fitness. We have to maintain a high level of fitness to make sure that we balance all of them. Without fail, the number one New Year's resolution in this country every year is to lose weight, to get back in shape, etc. And a lot of Americans fail with that goal simply because they focus maybe a lot on the nutrition and don't really tie in the fitness, or vice versa. Both have to work together. All right, this is just a visual here. Spend a couple seconds looking at it. It's just looking at when you look at a high calorie snack such as potato chips, pop, candy bars, etc. Compare that to a low calorie alternative such as pretzels, water, apples, etc. You can see that the serving sizes are very close to the same. When you start comparing calories, you're going to notice that there's a huge difference. And at the end of the day, once again, it's all about calories. So when it comes to choosing different types of food, we want to be conscious about the type of foods we're eating and how many calories are in those foods. Energy balance. There's a vocab word called metabolism. This is the process by which the body breaks down substances and gets energy from food. Some people naturally have a high metabolism and they burn up foods at a very fast rate, and other people have a slower metabolism, and therefore it takes them longer to break down their foods. Some things that you can do to possibly speed up your own metabolism is maybe eat more often, build more muscle mass, and those are some things that you can do to maybe speed up your metabolism. And typically what happens to most Americans is as we get older, our body doesn't work as efficiently as it normally would, which means in our younger years, we typically have a higher metabolism and we can burn up food very, very quickly. In our older years, we tend to have a metabolism that slows down, and we find as we age, gaining weight tends to be something that is easier to do, unfortunately. So a basic rule here on the left-hand side, foods high in fat will also be high in calories. And as a reminder from Chapter 10, 1 gram of fat equals 9 calories, and 1 gram of carbohydrates and protein will equal 4 calories. There are 3,500 calories in a pound, and most experts will recommend that if you're going to gain weight or lose weight, no more than 1 to 2 pounds per week. Anytime you do something more than that, more often than not, you have to do something extreme, and it's probably not going to be a type of an event that's going to be long term. Therefore, you might gain or lose the weight, and you get off of your diet plan or whatever that might be, and you find that maybe the weight comes right back on. So a really healthy way to do that is maybe 1 or 2 pounds per week.
Based on a formula, the body mass index, or BMI number, indicates whether a person's weight is height appropriate. Less than 18.5 is underweight. 18.5 to 24.9 is normal. 25 to 29.9 is overweight. Greater than 30 is obese. Greater than 40 is morbidly obese. BMI is calculated by multiply weight in pounds by 703. Divide that number by height in inches. Divide that answer by height in inches again. BMI estimates if a person is at a healthy weight. Being overweight puts strain on the heart and can lead to serious health problems. These problems include type 2 diabetes, heart disease, high blood pressure, sleep apnea, varicose veins, and other chronic conditions.
Some vocab here on the left-hand side. You can see overweight. Overweight is defined as being heavier than the standard weight for your height. Typically in health classes and even in the medical field, we don't use height and weight charts very often because muscle tends to weigh more than fat does. So you might have an individual that based on a height and weight chart is supposed to weigh, let's just say 200 pounds. let's say this individual, they're into strength training, they got a lot of lean tissue, and they weigh 215 pounds, it doesn't necessarily mean that they're overweight. Um, so, but when you look at a definition of overweight, heavier than the standard weight for your height, and as the video talked about BMI, for a lot of people, the BMI would be a way to gauge, based on my height and based on my weight, is my overall weight where it needs to be. Keeping in mind that people who are typically very tall, the BMI index doesn't tend to wait for them, or doesn't tend to work for them, I should say. And people who are strength training, muscle builders, those type of people, the BMI chart doesn't work very well for them either. We also have a vocab word here, body composition. This is the ratio of fat to lean tissue, and many people believe that this is more important than body weight. As long as that body composition is in the right area, meaning we have adequate amounts of lean tissue, lower amounts of fat tissue, then regardless of the weight, we're probably going to be okay. So once again, body composition ratio of fat to lean, and many people believe that body composition is more important than body weight. Obese, it's a word that we hear a lot in our society. Obesity means you have an excess of body fat. Right now, 17% of teens in the United States are overweight, and this percentage has tripled since the 1980s. Underweight, we do have people who are underweight as well, and maybe that's malnutrition, poverty, maybe it's overexercise, undereating, maybe it's with an eating disorder. But people who are underweight are under some serious health risks as well. This is the below the standard weight range for their height. And people who are underweight, they might have trouble fighting off disease. They're not carrying as much lean tissue as they should, and they're putting great strain on the body. So once again, the previous slide we had overweight, we have obese, and now we have underweight as well. If we weigh too much, so if we have somebody that is overweight or obese, some of the health problems would be hypertension, which is high blood pressure, cardiovascular disease, which is the #1 killer in our society today, and smoking and obesity are the contributing factors to cardiovascular disease. We have type 2 diabetes. Type 2 diabetes is also known as adult onset. Back 20, 30, 40 years ago, type 2 diabetes was typically found in people over the age of 50, but we're seeing right now is we're seeing a lot of people now being diagnosed in their 20s, 30s, and 40s, and the #1 risk factor for type 2 diabetes is being overweight or obese. We have osteoarthritis. We're putting too much, people who carry a lot of weight, they put too much strain on their joints, and that cartilage in the joint begins to wear away. So people can be in a lot of chronic pain because of that. We have gallbladder disease, asthma and other respiratory problems, and then certain types of cancers. When you start looking at managing your weight, when a lot of people make that decision, now just so you understand, managing your weight could be maintaining. You might be somebody right now who's saying, you know what, I'm happy where I'm at, I like my current weight. That's completely fine. You might have an individual who says, I want to gain weight. And then for a lot of high school athletes, that's something that they want to do, is they want to bulk up, they want to gain weight for their sport. And then you may have some people who say they want to lose weight. So managing your weight could be gaining, maintaining, or losing. Some things to do is, one, you have to have a target. Where do I want to be? What should be my healthy weight? So we got to have a goal. We have to set a target. Make sure our goals are realistic, which means in order for me to achieve my goal, I'm going to do something smart. I'm going to do something healthy. I'm not going to do something that's harmful or illegal to my body. Personalize your plan. So my plan might be different than yours and vice versa. Make sure that that plan fits you. It fits your goal. And it's going to help you attain the goals that you want. Make sure you're eating foods that you enjoy and you're doing activities that you enjoy. Put your goals and plan into writing. Research does show that if you write something down, you're more likely to actually accomplish it, and you're more likely to remember what it is that you're trying to achieve. And make sure we evaluate. It might be a week, it might be a month, it might be 6 months down the road. Are you making satisfactory progress? Are you happy with where you're going? And if not, are there some things that we need to change? Helpful ways to lose weight. When we start looking on here, once again, it's really about caloric intake and exercise. So make sure we're choosing nutrient-dense foods. Make sure we're watching our portion sizes. We're eating fewer foods that are high in fats and added sugars. We enjoy our favorite foods in moderation. We're active. We're doing strength training exercises where we're keeping our muscles toned, and we're staying hydrated. People who tend to have lean tissue on their body or they're building lean tissue, that is actually going to help them develop a higher metabolism, which means they're going to burn calories at a faster rate, which means when it's all said and done, they actually might lose weight at a faster rate as well. So choose nutrient-dense foods, watch portion sizes, eat fewer foods, enjoy your foods in moderation, be active, tone your muscles, and stay hydrated. Some helpful things that you can do to lose weight. Some other things that we can do is select foods from the 5 major food groups that are higher in calories. Now we're looking at gaining weight. Okay, so if someone's trying to gain weight, obviously they need to consume more calories. So they want to make sure that maybe their calories are going to be, or their foods are going to be higher in calories. They're going to choose higher calorie, nutrient-rich foods. They're going to eat nutritious snacks, and they're going to get regular physical activity. Basically, for a lot of people who are trying to gain weight, is they need to eat more often, and they need to increase their caloric intake. Because once again, in order for somebody to gain weight, they need to eat more than what they're burning. And for most people who are gaining weight, the weight they want to gain is going to be muscle weight, lean tissue. So not only is it about eating, but it's also doing the right type of exercises to make sure that we are gaining lean tissue. Because we could certainly eat more, but if we're going to be sedentary and laying on the couch, the weight we're going to gain is fat weight, and that's not recommended either. Just a chart here looking at physical activity and weight management. It's giving us an idea based on a handful of different exercises, approximately how many calories we would burn during that exercise. As it says on the bottom, this graph shows how many calories a person weighing 125 to 175 would burn during doing an activity for approximately 10 minutes. So somebody who's trying to maybe set a guideline or develop a plan for gaining, maintaining, or losing weight, these are to be some things to take into consideration. A lot of information available on the internet too. So for people who don't know how to develop a plan, there's a lot of great sites and a lot of good tips that people can get on the internet as well. What can physical activity do for you? It's going to help to relieve stress. It's going to help promote a normal appetite response. It's going to increase self-esteem, which will help you or help your plan stay on track. And it's going to help you feel more energetic. There's a lot of things. Physical activity is not just about the physical health. There's a lot of mental, emotional, and social benefits from physical activity as well.